Horizon and Marmoris session
Hey,
4 for the bots who auto join my channel and have never spoken.
hello, bots.
Cool. So we'll get started with a recap. Who would like to do a recap of what happened last session a month ago for in exchange for a beat?
I'll do it.
Go for it.
So, about a month ago, we just came back from the jungle, having some of us having passed the test of distance and perception. Some of us screamed really loudly about being a mid cloud. We got some well-deserved rest. Yes. No. Okay.
Yeah, you
Um,
you had at least one night of rest.
I know I saw Schism just wave his hands on his. But anyway, we had some well-deserved rest. Um, in the morning, I knew that Henry's character Elga. What? Oh, the song is too loud. Uh,
Muzak.
I was assaulted by a accordionist. I know
You
that
can.
Elga character decided, I can do magic, and I like swimming, and I like studying fish. Why don't I combine all those three of those things? And spent basically the majority of this swimming in the shallows of the port.
And as a result
Um,
of his hubris, he lowered in wisdom because of the fish.
yeah. What's Helga
The
pronouns
fish
again?
betrayed me.
Uh, what's Helga pronouns again? I forgot. He, she, them?
I technically I don't think even Kesson knows at the moment, really. Uh, he,
Oh
him,
no.
he, him, though.
Okay.
That's what everyone
Yeah, I
knows him
just
as.
yeah. Um so meanwhile Dalian just woke up, cast a spell on himself and went to the tavern where he met I'm not sure, Pascal first, or maybe John.
Uh,
And as a thank you, bought them a meal. Pascal and John met up and discussed about how they were both some sort of oracle seers, I don't remember, and that they're glad to have found other people with their ability. Dalian just told them that we were a normal group of people that could just see the spirits and discover them, and that was normal in the Maroon community, and he would gladly get them to his mentor if needed be and if they wanted to. After a bit more discussion and on a meal, they agreed to sort of travel together for a while to make sense of what is happening to them, what has happened, and learn more about what they are now. After that, before that, yes, Dalian and Pascal went on a boat to get some coral because Dalian needed to put some coral to the local apothecarian in exchange for medicine for his father, which he did, and the coral had a very strange, non-natural looking diseases to it. Some of his fate was meddled with, so there's probably shenanigans about. And that's basically it.
okay. And
And now I will be
there was
silent for a moment
there
because I.
was
Oh, sorry.
sorry. There was a little bit that happened with John. If you want to recount some of that, Screg.
I'm afraid to say I don't remember much of it. I'm very sorry about it.
Well,
That's fine.
we were sort of the end of the last session was when kind of John was expounding about, we're kind of seers, we want to see things, and put to the rest of the group the idea of becoming / meeting up with pirates and sort of becoming pirates to get out there on the sea,
Ah,
because
right, yes.
so many jobs and things aren't really happening now.
Yeah.
It's
Activist
the end of
economy? No, pirates.
privateering and things. So, yeah, John was like, "Why don't we become pirates? We can get out there, we can do our own thing, and we can find all this new stuff because
Mhm.
St. John's isn't huge. Antigua isn't huge. There's stuff here. Let's get out there. So I think what we landed on was we were going to go and and kind of glomp onto Kessen's crew and swing by Dalian's mentor, who's on a smaller island nearby, and then just get out there, see what happens. Meet some pirates, hang out with them.
Maybe drunk some rum.
Yeah, get out
throw
there.
up a bit.
Sure.
All right, sounds good.
Don't shower for days.
Yeah, as
Pirate
it goes. I mean, that's also not that different from landlocked life for many folks.
And
in
gets
this day and
curvy.
age.
Gets curvy, though.
Indeed.
I'm gonna put that on my short-term aspirations.
Gets curvy.
Yes. It could happen. Okay, so a couple of preliminary questions I had. Emmerich, for Dalian. How long has Dalian been away from the island?
Dalian?
If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm back. I had a little problem with some tea that got everywhere. But
well, I hope that you're unburnt and relatively dry.
oh no, it was I don't know, packets of tea.
Oh, okay.
Little bag.
Okay.
You have a bag that
So you're
opened up
covered in
everywhere.
leaves. Cool.
Yes.
How long has Dalian been away from his present home island?
Probably a few days to try to work and gain some money, but medicine being that expensive,
Okay, but
So it's been a
not
few
long at all. Like this.
No, maybe a
isn't-
week.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And that brings us around to the rest of you. Who wants to start with the spotlight?
It was John's idea to start this piracy thing, so I'll go for that.
Alrighty. Last I recall, John was sitting in the dining room of the inn, having just made this proposition to the would-be new members of this company, and I think everyone except Kessen, who's still on his ship, which I don't remember what we named it, but La Rosa, yes. I'm also sort of retconning that this is a primarily Spanish former privateering crew, just because I think that'd be interesting. Because everyone still hates the Spanish around these parts. Yeah, so take the scene.
So I think there are two things that John sort of feels they have to do to sort of get this ball rolling, which is the big part being kind of getting Kessen on board, because Kessen is the sort of is already part of that crew kind of thing, and kind of feeling them out on that. And the other part is getting his mentor Arnu to kind of go along with it as well. So Arnu is probably not far away. When did you establish this was? In the morning, kind of having breakfast?
Yeah, it's either breakfast or lunch. I think since the other two, Pascal and Dalian, have come back from their expedition out to the reefs, we'll call it early afternoon.
Okay.
All right.
We did not drown.
No. So Arnu, I think, would probably be kind of returning to their quite nice rooms, to have a little rest. He's a bit of an older gentleman. Maybe having some food. I don't know. And yeah, John is going to kind of. John knows that Arnu is a crotchety old so and so. So I think what John is going to do, if I may, if I could use the build equipment rules to make a plan.
Okay, sounds good to me. So what is the goal of this plan?
The goal is to. Why don't we make it a kind of covering both of those two things? So getting A, Arnu to come along, and B, kind of securing all of their passage with Keston's crew. So basically convincing those two parties to be on board with, hey, let's get out there and do some
Okay.
some
And what
piracy.
form does this plan take for John? How does he sort of, or how does they sort of arrange, their preparations and their knowledge and their materials in such a way to bring this greater success?
Well, in terms of plan, I think this has been kind of ticking over in John's mind. How am I going to get these people to agree, kind of thing. So I think he's been kind of basically kind of mulling it over, and kind of going, oh, what's the best way to kind of convince and deal with these people? A bit of flattery for our new, a bit of kind of pumping Keston for information, maybe on how to get their crew to sort of go along with it. So it's pretty internal. I believe it's wits and composure for a plan as well.
It is something. It's attribute plus skill generally.
Oh no, I mean specifically in the build equipment rules, it's wits and composure for plans.
Plans are require wits plus composure. Okay, yeah, sure. I was going to say that John, looking over the list of John's skill, John is very well acquainted with understanding other people, based on having preternatural empathy with sort of a special, well, maybe a relevant specialty. I was just going to give it to you for +1 equipment, unless you wanted to roll.
I'd like to roll because I kind of want to get a bigger equipment bonus.
Okay, cool. Give me a wits plus composure -2 then for a +2 plan.
Actually, I'd like to really pump it up and go for a +4 equipment bonus. So that would be -4, I guess. Just to reacquaint you with the build equipment rules, it's you take a penalty equal to the equipment bonus you're looking for, and if you fail, you still get it, but it'll have a tag where it's either volatile or.
Right. Yeah, I'm scrolling through it now. Okay, sounds good. Go for it. I'll say that this will, because you're going for a real big one, I'll say that it'll take probably, the rest of the afternoon as you sort of mull it over.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Go for it.
Just.
Nice. Squeaked by. All you need. Okay, cool. So what John ends up with after this afternoon of whiteboarding without a whiteboard, I imagine there's, maybe some sheaves of scrap paper on the table in front of him. There's,
moving
various
salt shakers around and drawing little pictures and things. Yeah.
Cups of beverage. I imagine that it's more like sort of a list of things little lists of things you've noticed about these people that really key into their psyche, and maybe arguments that have worked on them in the past, and sort of maybe a little list of talking points. And by little list of talking points, I mean a long list of talking points, because it's a +4 equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But you've got it. Anything else doing anything with their afternoon? Keston is still on the ship, having been told by the quartermaster, Raul, that Captain De La Vega is saying that they might take sail in the next couple of days, carrying some cargo for lack of other work.
I would have. Was I told the destination though? Because technically, Keston should be being the sailing master.
You weren't told, but this was sort of an offhand, hand on the doorknob comment, as Raul was sort of leaving you to sketch fish or whatever you were doing at the time. So you could find out if you wanted by talking to someone. It wouldn't be hidden from you, but you don't presently know the destination.
Oh, sure. I'd ask. I mean, whilst Kessen is not their passion is not to sail the seas exactly. They certainly, take responsibility seriously.
Okay,
So
yeah.
they'd want to know and possibly figure out if there's anything they need to prepare for special.
So the destination is back to Spain. The ship is loading up on sugar, and if they take this job, then they're gonna load up with their cargo, head in a westerly direction towards Florida, then up the Atlantic coast of the Americas, and then back across the Atlantic, following the trade winds back to England.
Okay.
Or not England, Europe.
Okay.
What is Kessen's reaction to this news that they might not be long for the Caribbean for the time being?
I think I'd be a little bit disappointed. There's a lot of things yet to document here, and I've already, whilst it's a curiosity to try and, I mean, not that I share this, try and dive into the colder waters of the Atlantic, it's not something looking forward to. It's far easier to find warm, shallow waters here, and generally there's still so much which is just not documented. As I've mentioned before in the past, Kessen's real obsession here is with the kind of Darwin type figure. As for the other players, of course, I've not really been told about plans of shipping out, etc. So that's not really on my mind. Although there's probably a slight bit of wondering, should I go and tell them that I'll be leaving soon with the crew? So I think with that in mind, I probably would, in the afternoon, try and seek out at least one of the others to tell them we might be going soon.
Cool. So Kessen probably has some shipboard duties related to this new news that they're expected to take care of. Maybe people come to him or come to them with questions. He, probably is asked to start, dealing with courses or, the course or whatnot, and he won't find himself sort of at leisure to head into town until, well, the end of the afternoon for dinner, probably. Which will bring us to Pascal. Anything special being done with the afternoon?
I don't think so. Pascal had a pretty busy last little bit in regards to delving into the artifact and helping Dalian do the diving thing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pascal would also be trying to, maybe get ready and come up with a plan, but not in a mechanical sense, more just he's preparing for it.
Okay, cool.
If he needs to try to convince Helga's crew at all.
Sounds good. Dalian doing anything special?
Yes. Dalian actually wanted to go find Helga.
Okay. Well, Helga is probably on the ship. So you're looking to get sort of some, one-on-one time with Helga?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you find La Rosa in the harbor, moored. There's no one stopping you from walking up the, gangway onto a board. Though, as you walk up onto the ship, you certainly get some, askance glances at you.
He's probably not going to walk on. Bit too shy for that. He's probably gonna hail someone.
We'll say for sort of ease of getting you together that Kessen's probably on deck, sketching the waters, looking into, the muddy sort of harbor, looking for fish or birds or whatnot. And you hear this voice, which is at this point has become familiar.
Hey,
Okay. What's Dallion's appearance now? Because I remember them saying that Dallion appears differently each time.
it's like his icon on the forge. He's basically a man in his mid-40s, a chin strap beard, evidently of Asian descent, Asian European.
And I think that it's not that Dalian looks different every time, but that every
No,
morning
he looks the
Dalian
same.
looks like an older version of himself that looks the same.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a bit like, you just
Okay.
never seen his true form. That's more like that. To you, you always looked like a man of Evan's age for the time.
In that case, hearing this voice, Kesson will kind of imagine that Kesson would be hanging on one of the riggings at the moment, just being almost the lazy deckhand. Not really lazy deckhand, but like kind of like fobbers it off a bit. He knows it's not so easy to replace. But once hearing this voice, would jump down, go over to the edge of the ship, peer over, and call out, "Hey, old man, what are you doing here?"
Hey! And Dallin pauses for a moment as he realizes he doesn't remember his name. Hey you! Can you come talk for a
It
second?
begins with it. I'll give you a clue. Do charades.
Okay, can you come down?
Who's this
Talk
strange,
to you?
confused old man Kesson is yelling at? Look, I know him. It's fine. I know him. So was the asked to come and
Would you come
talk
down
privately?
to talk? Like without me yelling?
Uh, I look at the crew. Do any notice this yelling? And I kind of will give them like
Oh, certainly.
a boy smile, like.
There's plenty of people watching. There's nothing else to be looking at. People are just moving barrels around, sitting on deck, and this shouted exchange isn't exactly subtle, given that you're in the rigging.
Yeah. I am not at all discreet. Like the kind of the way that Kessin prevents suspicion is by being so obvious. People just roll with it. Like so.
Yeah, so does
Do I
Kessin come
feel
down?
like do you feel like there'd be a big commotion if I just simply jump down and like, you know what, I'm gonna take 5 basically.
By jump down, you mean like dove off the
Onto the
ship into
deck,
the
onto the
water, or just
no, I'd take the plank.
Yeah, okay. So there will not be, a big to do about, you leaving the ship. You don't presently have any sort of,
Yeah.
duties that would prevent you necessarily.
Okay.
But people do notice that you are going off to chat with this chap.
Okay. Yeah.
But
So I'll just head down.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm not gonna explain myself. I don't explain myself.
I do what I
That's
want
your problem.
and all the time.
Do what I do. Like part of it is like that element of channeling the fact that they were raised with silver spoon to some degree. So like it's also like just no one's yet really like, I don't know, beaten that out of thin. It's fine. Like I'll just head down and yeah, I'll go to Dalian like what's this about?
The other night we kind of talked, and Well, where people can, see spirit and stuff, and well, kind of wondered if you, I think you should come to them, talk with them. They'll explain it much more than can.
Okay.
If that's okay.
I'll look back up at the ship and the boat hands. Hmm. I think it over. You're not trying to kidnap me, are you? I'm not worth
What?
that much. You're not trying to kidnap me, are you? I'm not worth that much.
Why would I try to kidnap you in plain sight by yelling at you?
No, I
What
mean if I
then?
come with you.
Oh,
I didn't get the impression
oh,
that you kidnap people, but I just want to make
what?
it clear if you try it, I'm
No.
really not worth that much. Okay. Just so we're clear
I
on that,
believe you. I believe you. I believe you.
I am not worth the effort.
Okay, I believe you. I'm not trying to kidnap you.
Then I'll shout I'll shout to actually I'd probably head back up just to let the quartermaster know that I need to see someone for about an hour or so.
Right.
And I'll explain it that it's actually oh god.
Mhm.
How obvious would Kesson be? Because again, like this is diving into hubris now. But
Anyways, well, in any case, you find Raoul. He is sort of
mhm.
taking figures, going over their food stores, making sure they have enough for the first leg of the journey, and he looks up at you as you approach. Going off the board is no problem. So unless you had anything particular you wanted, he's not going to make a fuss. Oh, also, side note, I have put a bunch more characters into the Conca for this, including most of the named characters for this particular crew. I don't know if you're yet in the Conca, Henry, but there's an invite link in the Discord, and you can follow it there.
Oh,
What's sorry? There's only one character that I see.
Oh, interesting.
okay.
A certain
Anyway.
Molly Mihan.
We'll figure that out later over the break, but it's there. Reminder.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you are at your leave to go ashore. So is there anything else that Dalian wanted to talk about, sort of one-on-one with Kesson, or did Dalian just come here to,
No,
fetch
he's
him
dead
for the
silent and
conversation?
look. No, he's dead silent and look like he doesn't know what to say. Well, just
God, this looks
basically going
weird.
to a tavern. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll just fast forward to the end of the afternoon. It's probably approaching the supper hour. John has finished his grand plan to convince everyone to become pirates, and plates of nice hot meals are starting to come out of the kitchen of the inn or tavern. Public house, yeah, public house.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Yeah, so I think if we just cut to, John has looped in the others into kind of his plan. Is kind of explaining that to them so they can use it as well, however they please, and is kind of very enthusiastic about this and excitable, but is also kind of looking to Kesson as this is maybe the first time Kesson is hearing
Hearing
this,
of
I
it.
believe. So is kind
Yes.
of going here is a plan as a sort of fait accompli, and what do you think? Do you think we could do it? Do you think you would be interested?
Before that, I have a question, storyteller.
Go for it.
Do we have a praxis
Um,
as baby mages?
you have the capability
Ability
to
to
buy a praxis, but you do
Gotcha.
not get one for free as part of
I
the
believe it's
character tab.
willpower when after you cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
make
Oh,
part of your like soul and understanding of magic.
that's
Yeah.
it. Fine. Okay, so just before the conversation starts, because Dalian is going to be silent because he's going to be looking at its bowl of soup and stirring it and silently casting a divination spell on it to examine the plan
Okay.
while they talk.
Ooh, do it.
Everyone's I imagine this is happening sort of mid-conversation. John's giving this speech about how they could be free to go explore mysteries wherever they like if they were gentlemen or gentle people of fortune on the high seas. And midway through that, everyone sort of gets this emanation from their passive mage sight from Dalian, who's staring intently into the shimmering surface of his soup.
Yes.
Pascal will turn his eyes towards Dalian and then kind of curiously look down into the soup as well, trying to see
Soupsy.
what's so interesting about it.
The soup sayer.
And John, with your keen periphery, you know that this is a time effect.
Yep.
Cool.
This may be the first time that John has experienced time being pinged in
I think
passive
so,
mage
yeah.
sight before.
Yeah, John is like really obviously paying attention.
So,
Like leaning over across the table.
Half standing up, yeah. Just
What kind of effect is it? Time and cinnamon.
I mean,
You're taking the time. What does it say?
So I
Okay.
would like to use. I have one overreach because I'm already having many faces on.
Mhm.
So I'm rolling my paradox, and I have one free reach to cast it as an instant. So only one overreach, but I'm gonna
Okay.
roll right now. Rolling for docs.
I
don't
assume
have
you're
a
going to
dedicated.
contain.
Yes.
Or actually, I don't know. Irrelevant at this point, but I was going to ask, if Dalian hasn't provoked a paradox before, would Dalian know to contain? But that's a
Probably has
question.
some instinctual understanding of mana. I know it, like just
Sure,
knowing
sure.
that this seems bad. I'm gonna try to do something about it and just instructively try
Oh,
to
shit.
avoid.
Oh. Ow.
Yep.
Anyway,
I would like
perhaps.
to use. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I
go
would
ahead
like
and
to
roll
use
for
the
the spell.
I would like to use the reflective surface of a soup, the liquid, and the fact it's a ball to use it as a yantra to divine.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfectly
Looking into
good
the soup.
tool, yantra. Go ahead and take a +1.
I've
How do
definitely daydreamed like this before.
How do I roll for spells on this shit? Hold on, let me see.
At the bottom of the form for the... Oh, if you use the form, then you can
Yes.
just click the cast spell button, but if you didn't use the form, just click the die in the bottom right corner
Oh,
over the
activate
text
cast
box.
spell. Oh, okay. I'll do it. Sorry.
I mean, it's fine either way, whichever is quicker. If you already know your dice pool, you can just chuck some dice at it.
That's true, but I just want to use the form to try to learn it.
Yeah.
No sleep or witness. It's not praxis. No. Casting times. Instance.
Yeah, for a quick
what-
spell like this, I'm not too concerned since, you're not going crazy with the factors or with, a
Yeah,
whole
that's
lot of
true.
whatever.
Okay, I'll just roll. It's gonna be quicker. Sorry. So that's my gnosis time, and I'm gonna use a willpower point.
Okay.
I want to succeed. Wait, so that's 4 plus... Oh, that's a lot of dice. Even for a baby mage.
Okay.
Holy
well, there's an
macaroni!
exceptional success. So get back that point of willpower. And how about we call this a condition? I don't want to do the thing where you did a thing and so now you're better at doing that thing because I'm trying to get away from that. But let's say that Dalian, as Dalian's casting this spell, sort of grasping at the unwoven stuff of the future or sifting through it. I imagine almost like sand. Dalian gets sort of these glimmers of sort of things that may happen in the future in addition to, the actual question that he's asking, which may sort of come in handy in the future. So we'll say that Dalian has a condition called prescient, and that will allow Dalian to retroactively once say that he made a preparation for a social interaction or a mental skill, or really any skill. It doesn't matter.
All right. And as Dalian finish casting a spell, you feel a strong feeling of excitement in your stomach as his nimbus flares a bit.
What?
Yeah.
Whose?
Sorry?
And whose stomach?
Everyone, yours, like your stomach. Everyone's stomach, like the feeling. Dalian's nimbus is a feeling of excitement in the swelling in the stomach.
Yeah, for anyone who's looking with their active mage sight, they would definitely feel that unless Dalian is intentionally flaring it. But in any case, your spell goes off. You're casting a spell of divination.
Yes.
For
I have 2 questions.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and ask.
Is John's plan likely to work?
So this is a lower level spell, so you're limited to sort of shorter answers. Dalian hasn't done sort of the experimentation to really dig at it and try to wrest more out of the sands of time, metaphorically literal in this case. So the answer that Dalian gets back is yes.
All right. Will the medicine for my father work?
Inconclusive.
Dalian spouts waits just dissipates, let's steer the soup to dissipate his vision. And he looks at John saying, looks like your plan is going to work.
John's pretty happy with that, but is like kind of saw the pout and is kind of like, oh, I wonder what he saw. Almost afraid to ask.
He looked happy, then concerned, then normal. And I would like to spend a point of willpower to make that my praxis, divination.
Okay. First dot comes with the ability to have a praxis. Yep, spend that willpower point you got back, and go ahead and add it to your sheet.
I don't spend a dot. I just spent a point. Okay.
Yep, spend a point.
Oof. All right. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Continue, you guys.
Yeah. So I think we were kind of looking to, it's Kessen's crew, as it were. So
yep.
Sort of putting the question to Kessen, are you on board for one thing? Because, it feels like he's kind of, has a bit more ownership over them, as it were, than the rest of us do. And do they think this is a great plan?
Where are we discussing this exactly? Is this like just a local dive?
This
with
this
really excellent soup, which I'm having what he's having. That soup seems amazing.
It's a good soup.
Yeah, it's the really local
time.
Or it's one of the few public houses. It's the aftermath of the festival, but there are still plenty of folk who are in town. So
that's when they have all that rich people shit, but then like they don't eat it all, so it just gets like filtered down. So literally just table scraps, but a lot of them.
Yeah, sure, exactly. And so there's there's people in here, if that's where you're getting at. Dinner hour supper hour is approaching, so people are in, but you guys probably have sort of a table that's a little, off to the side-ish. I'm not going to say, in the corner, because that's cliche, but you have a little bit of privacy, but not too much.
Okay. Yeah. I think that do I do a pirate accent?
John
So what
just kind of goes, if that'll sweeten the deal, yeah.
But can you do a pirate accent? You gotta do one, you see. That's how I know that you're on the up and up.
Out of some pirate talk.
I don't know that
John,
that's how
John does
pirates.
a very poor one.
I don't know that that's how pirates talked until Disney was invented a couple of centuries down the line. So,
until a certain mouse came along, not the possum.
Yeah.
This is the ear of the possum. The ear of the mouse comes later.
Yeah. To remind the viewers, this is 1714 in the island of Antigua in the Caribbean. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So you're proposing that we break the law, like a lot, and that you want to corrupt my innocent and upstanding crew.
All said is like, I mean, and he stops in his tracks and just it is game.
Everyone in the room turns to look at Dalian. Dagger eyes and some little daggers.
I mean, whose law are we breaking?
The laws of gods and men. Mages.
John just kind of looks at Kessin and is like, what laws could keep us?
I don't know yet.
We're seers. Who could really rightfully stop us? Now, I'm not saying we go out there and we start, carving a bloody sword through the seas, but a life of piracy is going to be the best way for us to get out there and see all of the the amazing sights that we can appreciate.
And we could choose too, not on someone else's.
Exactly, we're not bound to
over the table.
trade lines. We're not bound to, wherever some ship owner or company, wants us to go. We need to put this in our hands.
And so, you two are on board with this then. I mean, the carpenter has had one taste of the beyond and seems to have gone mad with power, but you all now want to just set sail and do whatever we want to do.
I will confess that this is not the first time that I would have signed on with a free company.
Huh.
Dalian just
all I'm going to say is that the laws of nature, or whatever this is, there's always, I'm going to use the line, there's always a bigger fish, so I'd be very careful about being alone in the middle of nowhere.
That's very wise. Yeah. I'm by no means saying we should just throw ourselves in the ocean and swim for whatever we like. We'll have each other and each other's perspectives, which is that much more powerful.
At the time.
And soup.
Yeah, normally whilst I'm very eager for
and think of the amazing creatures of the ocean and of the islands of the Caribbean.
Well, that's
We
a
could go
problem
and
though,
find.
because
Most of them
see,
are
that's a problem
poisonous.
that's a problem though, because the captain is wanting to go west, back to Europa.
The spirit said the plan will work.
We can. It's worth
That's
broaching
soup.
at least.
No, I look into the soup to see the spirit
What-
will.
John is kind of has sort of shared his plan as well, with all three of them.
Yeah,
So it's
John's
kind of,
plans was
here's-
defined. Yeah.
Here is my plan, to kind of convince them. John obviously looks pretty like, whoa, shit. We can't go back west. No. We're staying out here. There's this is where a life of piracy can
Into
thrive.
east, you mean?
Yeah, no, it doesn't want them to go west, is what he's saying. Yeah,
Well,
sorry,
for perspective,
east.
you guys have
Yeah,
access to
sorry.
the cart. West
I'm
is the
mixing
rest of the Caribbean. East
yeah.
is back to Europe.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Oh, so yeah, east, yeah.
And
What did I say? East? Yeah. I said
Yeah,
back
I
to
don't-
Europa.
I don't know my left from right. It's fine. So, where was I? Yeah, John is kind of pointing to his plan, which is pretty well thought out, and along with Kessin could work really well, and kind of gestures to Dahlia, and it's like, well, the spirits agree that this could
What
work.
is your plan exactly?
Well,
So,
John
in terms of
explains what the plan is, but in terms of it is an abstraction.
yeah,
So
in terms
I'm
of
not going to
what
say exactly
the
what
like
it is.
right, yeah, it's basically like a bridge, like sort of a bridge sort of notes for like some pretty convincing arguments and talking points that appeal to various personalities. There might be a subsection like for a greedy crew member, you might lean on these points. For a religious crew member, you might try to invoke the freedom that God has given all of us, and for a more pragmatic crew member, you might sort of lean on how many pirates there are these days, and how much success they're finding, etc., etc. But sort of a long list of arguments.
Yeah, so it's kind of some approaches that is going to be very convincing, and what to do if the captain isn't on board. Maybe talk to somebody else and get a bunch of other people to convince him. Not any specifics, because well, I can't tell you any specifics because that's not how the game abstraction works. But John has like a pretty good plan put together, kind of thing. I'm not saying this in order to sort of hide it and go, yeah, and then we're going to kill all your friends. No, the broad strokes of the plan is convince them, by presenting an opportunity, maybe with a little bit of lying, maybe with a little bit of pushing, but nothing like nefarious, nothing kind of nothing like blackmail or murder or anything like that.
This is my 5-step plan to become master of all NFTs. So, assuming that the plan is convincing, would Kessin feel guilty about manipulating these people? Maybe a little.
Hey, that's a condition.
Well, I mean, Kessin does presently have the megalomaniacal condition, so
It's not that I feel guilty. I feel sorry that we're too dumb to be manipulated like that.
What if Kessin became the captain, huh?
Yeah.
No. It should be. Oh God, Kessin, you don't want that. It should be noted that in real life pirate crews, the one usually with the most power was the quartermaster. The captain was more of a whoever was the best during a specific battle, but not like for the grand designs, etc. So basically, the
leader
the
in time.
blowhard, someone who's good at fighting, good at talking.
well, so the captain is also the
fun
one
switch.
who often sets sort of sailing courses, or plans for where to sail to, making sort of
Just
decisions in
book
that
a
front.
direction that way.
They're not just like, the himbo for shaking the sword. They're the decision maker.
Oh, are you gonna make Kessin the ship himbo? You come with.
I mean, at the end of the day, someone's got to keep it running, right?
But
So
yes,
Medallion, that's going to be the ship himbo.
yes, the quartermaster and the captain typically do share power. It's not just a figurehead. But for any given crew, things could differ. And with magic, who can say? Anyway,
I feel like I have some say over the quartermaster, but I feel like Kessin wouldn't have much say over the captain. I feel like when it comes to Kessin's skill set, that's something which is more appreciative by the quartermaster on a regular basis, because the quartermaster knows that this like shorter like time at sea is actually saving us money, whereas the captain's more like, the ship himbo.
Anyway,
so
I will sort of draw a line through this and answer a couple of the questions that were implied in what you said. It's a +4 plan equipment, so Kessin would surely find it would help to be convincing and be effective at doing that. Kessin is also currently megalomaniacal, so maybe sort of the feelings of guilt about manipulating people or sort of being a bit a bit of a sophist in order to convince them towards this maybe is not as big of a priority for them right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that because of the megalomaniacal condition and that fork-tongued bastard made specific mention of staying in the Caribbean and all these new sites, like that is gonna ping the selfish side of going like, you know what? Yeah, let's Mage Cat adopt the crew for our designs.
Nice.
Still don't like it though, and you're the one's gonna have to convince the captain because I can't stand the guy. I'm making this thing.
Right. Well, Kessin can get a point of willpower back from leaning into their new temporary selfish vice from the condition. And
weekly order the same soup.
So, yeah. Is there anything anyone else wanted to bring up over the course of the rest of this dinner, other than sort of, swapping notes or making more mundane
soup is
plans
really good.
that we can abstract away from? The soup is quite good.
Can we get the cook for the crew for the ship? We need to kidnap the cook. This is guys.
That is
we need a good cook.
Not in the plan.
Pascal will probably make.
We can modify the plan
towards the end of as it's winding down about how, regardless of what happens, even if we can't end up joining on to this new crew or become pirates, he's glad that he got the chance, to meet these other seers.
You're gonna say to eat the soup.
John raises a glass to that.
Valiant's just gonna say.
Did you mention this?
Whatever you do it tonight, because tomorrow I need to go back to my island to develop medicine.
Of course, yeah. Well, and John is interested in meeting this mentor as well.
Okay. So unless anyone has anything that they want to do before bed, wrapping up for the evening, restful sleep, get a point of willpower back, and we'll move to dawn of the next day.
Cool. Nothing I need to do.
Same casting as before.
Nothing yet.
Yep. I'm not gonna make you roll for it. But
I've got a spell prepared for later this day, but I'll wait for the circumstances to appear.
Sounds good. Unless anyone's doing anything else of particular note in the morning, we can move towards springing the plan. How do we go about doing this? Kessin's waking up on the ship. The rest are waking up in the inn. There's some more activity this morning on the ship as the crew of La Rosa are carrying additional crates of provisions on board to prepare for a long journey, checking the state of the ship, looking for anything that might threaten the seaworthiness of the vessel. The others at the end.
First we have a montage of we all get up and do our getting prepared for the big task of
I'm gonna
Talking
figure out
Basically
like
conning the entire crew of people.
I'm gonna
They're
carry
just
like a whole box on
become
board, right? That's
pirates.
gonna be. I'm trying to figure out how to how to take my whole artifact on board without raising eyebrows.
So
What you
are
got there?
we? So there's two parts to this
Soup.
plan.
It's
There's
soup.
convincing the crew, and there was also a conversation that John wanted to have with
Yeah.
Arnaud. What order are those happening in?
So I think John is going to approach Anu first of all, because getting Anu on board means that we have a very accomplished shipwright who who could also help them to convince the what's it called, the captain and the crew and whatnot. So
Mhm.
John is gonna personally do that. In so yeah, I think John is just gonna kind of lay it out to Anu as like kind of playing on his prejudices and stuff, and playing on the kind of the waning Dutch influence, sort of
Okay, cool.
kind of show that there's not a lot of opportunity here, among these sort of filthy non-Dutch.
Okay. I imagine that all being sort of rolled into the plan for you preparing to how to talk or have this conversation. We'll say that you catch Arnaud. I imagine him being an early riser. He's downstairs. He's having some crappy coffee out of a tin cup in the
Just how he
bottom
likes
floor of
it.
the
Yeah.
inn.
Yep.
You have this conversation. We can cut short. You're trying to be very convincing. Are you specifically trying to convince him to take up a life of piracy, or just to join this ship's crew?
I think he wants to get Anu in on maybe not piracy, but sort of no, yeah, actually, why not? A life of piracy, and freedom, as is his right as a Dutchman, kind of thing.
Okay,
But
cool.
very much playing on his kind of prejudices and kind of flattering him a bit as well.
Right. So you're doing a lot of arguing and convincing, laying out sort of structured arguments. So we'll call this a persuasion roll. Give me a manipulation plus persuasion roll plus your plan equipment of 4. Penalized by 4 for his composure, plus a little bit of a penalty for asking him to become a pirate at the ripe old age of 62.
So that's a penalty of 4, you say?
He's older
Yes.
than me.
In that case, I'm going to spend a willpower.
Go for it.
Wait. Do you want a bit of blessing? A bit of good luck from the spirits?
A little
I
too late for
say
that.
no.
Oh, my bad.
Never mind. Okay, spending a point of willpower then.
And
Yay.
success. Nice. Ooh, 2 explosions. All right. So a normal success. You of course initially encounter very normally I'd try to frame this in terms of doors, but you're trying to force doors effectively because you need to make this decision quickly. So he initially sort of laughs in your face when you say the P word, but as you continue to sort of lay into his sort of, use your little conversational crowbar to lever it into his Dutch supremacy, and then bring up how hard times have been to find ships that don't get intercepted, and all of these other well-considered arguments.
Yep.
Over the course of, I'm gonna say that this takes like the morning, probably like the whole morning to
Yes,
get this man
definitely.
on board, because he's obviously got a lot to think about, right? Like he had plans and contacts, and there's logistics to figure out, like what am I going to do about this and blah blah blah. So I imagine you spend pretty much the morning working on this, which
that's
brings us to everyone else. But in the end, you do succeed. He agrees to, go on this venture with you for at least a little bit. He's between contracts now, and he doesn't plan to do any fighting, but you've gotten him to agree to come with you for at least a little bit of it. Whether he stays with you or not, who knows, but he'll ride along.
And I'm explicitly saying, you're coming along as a shipwright,
Mhm.
as to use your expertise, kind of thing. We're not expecting him to be manning cannons and, winging swords or anything.
Right. Okay. Cool. So next, let's roll around to Gesson. You're waking up on the ship. It's morning. You are privy to this plan. I don't know if there's, been an arrangement between the four of you of when you're gonna, come on board and maybe do this pitch, but how's it gonna go?
Most of the crew should be relatively easy to sway. I would imagine there's probably like just certain key people. Obviously the quartermaster and the captain. There'd also be the surgeon and possibly the boatswain.
Yeah, I don't know that there
You probably
is a surgeon on staff presently.
the something you get.
Yeah.
We got two ice
Actually,
mages, it's fine.
Actually, if a surgeon isn't there, there's a thing about the order priority. So if like somebody's like the I think a carpenter technically.
Yeah, you don't have one of those right now
Still.
either. It's not a very
no, we're
well
getting more.
staffed ship.
Point is, there's probably like half a dozen like key people, which can sway the rest as well. So I would attempt to get them available, saying, let's say it's like a business opportunity.
Okay,
Put it that
so
way.
Kessin is gonna spend the morning sort of going around,
Yeah.
dripping sweet words into people's ears. Is he gonna do this sort of coyly or just sort of very, bluntly and straightforwardly?
I think it depends on the individual. I try to change tactics when who I was talking to.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll call this an extended action, since you are working on a number of people over a period of time, rather than having a singular conversation. So give me a manipulation and persuasion roll.
That's going to be a bit of an issue. That's
It might, yeah.
dice pool for that is not great. My dice pool for that is 2.
How important is this to you?
Okay, so what are the rules for extended actions again?
Essentially, you are looking to accrue successes equal to, or up to the target number.
Yeah.
I think actually there's a limit of rolls that you can make equal to your unmodified dice pool. So in this case,
This
that'd
is
be
the
2.
physics test.
To determine whether you achieve success quickly enough or not.
Trying to. Oh, there it is. It's on page 70 of Chronicles. Yeah, confirm with that. That's the maximum number of times you can roll before the action fails. Yeah, two dice with two rolls. That's like maximum I can get from that is 4 successes. Really, well, crits, but like yeah.
Exploding. All right. Anyway.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
So does Kessin decide to just not even try to do anything to help, or? just because they think
Just
that
show
they'll
up.
fail?
Don't
or
forget you're getting the plan equipment bonus.
Does that apply?
So I'm imagining this being sort of like preparatory work to sort of clear the way for the actual convincing. I'm imagining Kessin going
Okay.
around like and maybe trying to soften opinions towards the prospect of piracy, not like doing the main action.
That's
And
fair.
I'll say, sort of out of character, if you fail this, that doesn't mean that the plan is shot and y'all gotta go kill rats until you've got enough gold to buy your own ship.
There might be another way I can do this. I'm thinking.
Does it involve
Because what if
dominating
I
others?
use? Does it involve magic? Oh, magic. So, again, he said that we're doing this more like in the sense of where is this? Yeah, so life. What can I do with life? Control instincts is an instant spell which I'm able to adapt to something. Because I can trigger responses in animals, including humans.
Okay. So what is sort of
It's
the
a- it's a-
end goal or end effect Kessin is sort of aiming towards?
Well, this is the thing because the end goal here, is to try and make it easy to me to pitch this really. But also because I do have specialities. Let me think. There might be a different tactic here.
So Kessin, with his knowledge of sort of living beings, he's not a trained biologist, but he does have he's
Oh.
got like foreign science, which is a little bit much, but relative to the knowledge of the time, Kessin knows that sort of there's all sorts of things that happen in the body when people experience different emotions, like being, happy or whatnot. You might not know exactly like what mix of humors creates sort of the feeling of joy or of sadness or of whatnot, but you know that if people are in a good mood, then generally they're more amenable to things. So using sort of the broad symbols of life magic, you could try to arrange people's bodies to produce that mix of humors that produces a certain mood in them, and that might help measures. That would be sort of a pretty straightforward life ruling effect.
Yeah.
Probably.
That's what I was thinking of. And bear in mind that with control instincts, we're using that as the example spell. Some of the assisted rote skills include persuasion, intimidation. So it's like for manipulating people.
Sure. Yeah, you don't have that as a rote, but I get what
No,
you're
I
going
don't.
at for.
But... So manipulation. Actually, let me just do the spell. So when I go to individuals, I'm trying to manipulate them to be more agreeable. Hopefully they don't get a paradox, and then all of a sudden like it's a crew of horny pirates or something, and that's
So you're trying to roll. So you're trying to cast a life spell. Are you trying to cast
yes.
this like an area spell on everyone on the ship? Are you trying to target particular individuals?
I'm focusing on the individuals which we need. So I'm probably going to need a scale with 5 subjects.
Mm-hmm. You'll also need those 5 subjects in eyeshot all at once.
Shouldn't be too hard. I have like the morning to line them up, don't I? Basically.
It's true.
So duration. I don't. I'd be 1 scene 1 hour. I don't think they'd be agreeable the entire day. I see them to be agreeable, kind of for what I'm pitching here. It's kind of the idea here. They can question it later.
So for a scene, perhaps.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Scene, duration, ruling. Technically, they do get a withstand with composure, I believe, with this. Dice
Yeah,
pool
that
is
seems
3.
reasonable. So the
What can I do to
withstand
increase
comes
that?
with against the potency of the spell rather than the dice pool.
Mhm.
But obviously, you have to take dice penalties to increase the potency.
So what should my potency be for this?
You tell me. Every withstand for, or when an individual withstands a spell, each point of the withstand trait reduces the potency by 1. If the potency of the spell reaches 0, then it doesn't have an effect. So you need at least potency of the highest resistance or withstand trait plus 1 in order to affect.
It's probably going to be composure for that.
Yeah, we agreed that it was
Yeah.
composure. It's just
Yeah.
Kessin's trying to figure out how much oomph they need to shoot
2?
for.
2 is like the average for
5.
humans.
2 is the average. A little bit more than the normal average human. It's the normal average PC, but most of
And
these
remember, you need to
people
beat the
will have
withstand.
composure of 2. Yes, you're right. Some might have
So
composure
potency
3.
2, duration for 1 scene hour, advanced scale 5 subjects, casting time advanced 1 turn.
So I'll say that if you want to affect someone with composure 2 with the spell, it will need potency 3 at least.
That brings me to -1 dice pool.
Yantras can increase it, but or rather, it will be a chance die, as long as it's not -5. Unless you can add Yantras.
Technically, there are sleeper witnesses.
So there are sleeper witnesses, but this isn't obvious magic. As far as I'm aware, people feel emotions all the time. People sort of feel happy sometimes just for no reason because their meat shell decided to secrete the happy chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've never come across that.
I need to figure out what my what yantra can I use? Oh, I know. I will make them
Soup.
Yes. Soup magic is best.
No. For ruling spells, it's chowder. Anyway, so this is a spell of sort of, exerting your will over people. So a rod yantra might be appropriate for sort of the tools. If Kessin has one to hand, if not,
I don't know if they figured out how to do that yet, because again, the issue is like what they are thinking is how to improve the effect. I think one thing is going to be the ritual of pouring drinks. So gets them all inebriated, and that does rule over your mind. Probably like a mid-morning grog.
Yeah, so a cup yantra, sure. Yeah, I'll take that. Go ahead and use that as a +1 yantra.
That gives me a dice pool of 0. I'm feeling lucky.
Still a chance to die, and also you can spend willpower.
I don't want to spend my willpower. Oh, did I get full rest?
Yes, you have 5 out of 5 of your willpower.
I 5 willpower. Yes. Okay, I guess I got to spend it then. Once you matter willpower, you got to spend it.
You're over there with your 5 out of 5, wondering if you should spend it. I've run almost dry.
Look, you was careful with your manner, like I'm not with my wisdom. Okay, so I have a dice pool of 3. 2 powders die. I kind of want to roll to see what happens. This would be hilarious. I'm not prepared for this. I do not know what I'm doing. It's fine.
Know to contain the paradox?
I don't think so. Still exploring.
Alrighty.
This is part of the fun of playing newbies.
Go ahead and roll it. There's a paradox success. Okay.
Yay.
I haven't done one of these in a while. So for house rules, I will say that in the paradox rules, if you get successes on your paradox roll, then those successes are applied as a penalty against your spellcasting roll. We're not going to do that.
I thought it was modify the factors or do other
yes,
things.
that, but also if you provoke, say, 2 paradox successes, you also take a -2 penalty to the casting roll. But we're not going to do that. I will add that to the homebrew.
It's been a
document.
while since I had any paradox.
Yeah. Okay, so
Fun.
go
Join me.
ahead and roll the spell.
I've got 3 dice. If the paradox got success, the dice have come on. Yes.
Yay!
Yay.
Nice, 2 successes.
am-
Okay. Let me just quickly take a read.
Oh, you
over-
forgot to reach for the range.
It's true. So you will need to go around touching these people.
That's fine. Part of the act what I'm doing is giving them a drink. I have range.
Okay. Yep, that's fine.
Literally, I'm this what I'm doing.
Okay, so rather than sort of
You have to just.
lining or being on deck and opportunistically waiting for them to get into sort of line of sight the way I was initially imagining.
I'm sure
we'll
you
say
wonder
that
why we'll gathered you here. Have some rum. I'm
Yeah.
gonna discuss these.
Kessin's, pouring some drink, calling people over, pouring some drinks, maybe, in celebration of, leaving, or maybe Kessin, claims that they found a bottle of something. Anyway, but so you're passing around cups, touching people. We'll say that that's fine. 1 scene per hour. You're attempting to affect the quartermaster
Yes.
and other various important people. Are you attempting to also get the captain in that?
Yeah. I'm doing. This is 5 people. I definitely would want the captain, the quartermaster. Like I said, like any kind of, but any kind of veteran, senior, like crew.
Okay.
Um.
So we'll say
How would that fit my
that so Kessin is envisioning, Kessin has this imago in their head of, reaching out and touching and conveying this sort of, life energy, however it looks, onto these people that sort of amps up the humors in their body that produces sort of, this agreeable sensation. But Kessin is realizing as they pour that first cup, and this pungent aroma of the rum is just assaulting their nose. It's so strong, and looking around with their wizard eyes, with life, they can see that this effect has gotten far away from their hands. Rather than these 5 particular people on this ship who are having their humors toyed with, it seems like the area has spread out to most of St. John's. He sees sort of the humors going riotous in these people that he's looking at on the docks and in the streets leading away from the dock.
Oh my god! I've made the entire island horny. This is not good, guys. What have I done?
So Kessin, got a little more oomph out of the area and reach out of the spell than they intended. But as far as particular individuals using their active mage sight, they can see that the quartermaster doesn't seem to be affected. The captain, is looking a little bit happier and a little more chipper, and maybe one other person of the 5 that initially they were gunning for are feeling, more peppy. So that's 3 out of 5 for what Kessin was looking for.
Okay.
Just the worst.
How will this affect my roll, though?
So Kessin is trying to, or gonna go around and try to, drip poison in their ear, essentially. Maybe not poison in the
Tongue it.
sense of, yeah. So
I'm
I'll
sure
say
you
that
all
it'll
wonder
give,
why I've gathered you here.
yeah, I'll say that it'll give you a plus 2 to your extended action rolls. So that'll be a base pool of 4. And instead of doing it as an extended action, just go ahead and roll it once for me. Your manipulation.
Oh,
plus
sorry, once
persuasion
again, it's
plus 2. Plus 2.
Was again plus 2.
Yep, so this should end up being a dice
manipulation.
pool of 4.
Persuasion. Plus 2. I will spend a willpower on this as well.
Okay.
Plus 2 plus 5.
Okay, yeah. So we'll say that you definitely do some sounding off of these people and figure out sort of their attitudes towards the prospect of becoming gentlemen of fortune. They trust Kesson, and sort of that helps get in the door. And you find you find sort of the same people, or you figure out who has sort of a reflexive aversion to the idea or strong morals, and you start to prick at them a little bit, and you notice other people who are a little more openly enthusiastic about the idea, and make note of that. And that'll just make things a little bit easier down the line. Cool.
I kind of imagine that the speech given was kind of like almost like Andrew Ryan's like, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? Why would you work for the Spanish when you can work for yourselves?
So,
gentlemen, we have a guest coming later. We'd have an interesting proposal, kind of thing, and then just
right.
So
is Kesson making a grand speech, or just having like quiet conversations with these 5 people?
It's directed towards these people, and I am relying upon these being the key targets to convince everyone else.
But so these are private conversations.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like in a cabin somewhere with the room, etc. Like, here's the good stuff. It's not just for everyone in the crew, like, kind of thing. It's a bit tutorial. And I mentioned I have friends from the island coming later that have unique skill sets.
Okay, cool.
And whatever the part of our plan we're discussing about how we're going to convince them.
So, do you think that so this probably isn't yeah, you're not forcing them to act counter to their interest necessarily, because you're not forcing them to do anything. No. You're just making them happier, more amenable. So no wisdom risk, and we will call that done for the morning and move forward to the entry onto the ship of the rest of these seers after our break. So we're at halfway through. We'll take a 10-minute break here, go to the bathroom, stand up, stretch your wrists, look at an object at least 20 feet from you for at least 20 seconds, all that good stuff.
I always remember to do that when on the computer for long stretches of time.
Ready, yes, back in the bed.
I'd love to do it. See you in a bit.
Alright, see you in 10 minutes.
welcome back from break.
Hey.
So prior to the break, we had done some preparations on board for the rest of the seers of this company to come onto the ship and start to, and by start to, we mean start and finish convincing the crew of La Rosa to turn to a life of piracy, in the hopes of providing them a convenient and easy vessel for plundering the mysteries of the Caribbean. And so Kessin cast a big spell that turned out much bigger than he expected, as this sort of large area of effect covering most of the buildings of the port, causing a life effect to appear, or causing some sort of life effect washes over the people of the port, including the other mages who all hear their peripheral mage sight or feel their peripheral mage sight detecting an effect coming from the
ST,
harbor.
Kessin's just embracing the himbo destiny. This is only the beginning of these events.
Yeah, and throw in some paradox in a very destined fashion. Anyway, so John, with his keen periphery merit, feels that this is some sort of life effect, and everyone feels it coming from the direction of the harbor. What do you do?
How far does it extend again?
Sorry, what was that?
How far does it extend? Does the spell extend?
It covers. Well, I mean, this isn't a gigantic, town, right? It's just a, relatively sleepy port town, but it is a large or a very big-sized area. And it's the end of the morning at this point. We'll consider your conversation with Arnud, John, having been wrapped up. So, what do?
Well, John is going to kind of, kind of senses the life effect and kind of is kind of open to it and takes it in, and is a bit like, does John sort of sense anything off in terms of the paradox or anything? Like, notice anything different there, or?
Just from peripheral mage sight, no. And actually, do any of you, out of all of you, Pascal is the only one who feels a little bit more chipper, a little bit happier, more sanguine, sort of more agreeable and approachable, as you feel happy.
And Pascal's actually going to chalk that up more to, like, getting ready to meet the this new crew.
Mm-hmm.
He just assumes it's more like, just like a sense of excitement from, like, getting back into business, so to speak.
Well, I will note that your peripheral mage sight goes off, and then you start feeling really happy. So,
how, like, it's not like supernaturally happy though, right? Like how
so
obvious is it?
For you, this is a potency 1 effect because of your composure of 2, so it's noticeably happy, but not like overwhelmingly happy. Like, it's maybe noticeable if you catch it, but it's not like you're about to go skipping through daisies.
Well, Pascal's definitely going to step outside to try to look towards the direction of the port, and see if anyone else also felt this, disturbance. But he's not going to necessarily catch the happiness being a part of the periphery.
Yeah, I mean, you look around, it just looks like a normal day. People are going about their business. It's nothing super noticeable to just sort of mundane senses. But we can consider that you guys have time to do everything you want to do, ashore, and then move on to the next phase of your plan.
Darian is going to probably was in the middle of carving a figurine, so he's probably going to stop that and try to look around since his periphery acted up. And since he only knows, does he know Elgin's Nimbus? By the way, what is it?
Your hubris. No, the Nimbus. Ah, I think it's
I
just
think
mage sites.
we've cast spells around each other, so
Yeah.
it's probably fairly familiar.
Would Dalian have taken the time to sort of investigate, what the after effects of the magic made by his new companions is? Because if he has, then
Probably.
yes, obviously, if he thought to
Yeah.
do so, then you could recognize the signature Nimbus of Law. But if Dalian isn't the sort of person who would do that,
Dylan
then you don't.
is like to be quiet and observant. So
Okay.
yeah, I
That
do
fits.
So
Yeah.
he's gonna go and since he has no idea what the spell did, since it didn't affect him, he's gonna go and wait around La Rosa, finishing carving up his tablets from Drift.
So I will say that looking around at La Rosa with the Arcana that Dalian has, Dalian doesn't see any sort of active spells or the aftermath of said spells, which means I don't think that you. Well, no, you still see their signature Nimbus, probably. I'm not going to make you roll for
Yeah,
it.
everyone sensed the signature Nimbus in the zone where the spell was cast, even if they're not mages. They just don't know around.
I'm not going to make you roll for it. It's very apparent and it's very fresh. You can recognize immediately this sort of, this crusting of coral that sort of hems at the edge of your vision. That is Dalian's signature, or not Dalian's, Kessen's signature Nimbus. But you guys all find your way to the ship eventually, probably early afternoon.
So out of character, like I think kind of John has had a fair amount of spotlight here already, and I want to hold back for maybe like the coup de grace, because with what's his name, Arnu on board, I can ask him to do a subterfuge with 3 successes. So I feel like that's the little feather in the cap here. So kind of what I might be interested in seeing is like how Dalian and kind of Pascal use the plan as well and try and convince the crew.
So I'd assume that that part of the plan might even involve Pascal kind of taking a bit of a spotlight lead, because Pascal's been, a pirate beforehand.
Definitely.
And we kind of know how it would work, so.
Sounds good to me. All right, and just to paint the scene, I imagine you guys are all coming together, with Arnud in tow, as you mentioned. So you're walking into the harbor. There's plenty of ships around, unloading and loading cargo up, or otherwise. Some newly arrived, some having been anchored there for a little while, as is the case with La Rosa. The gangway is extended. It leads to the dock. There's crew members sort of scuttling around, carrying cargo onto the ship. It looks like it's being loaded up for a journey of some sort. And you guys, I guess, make your way on, I presume.
Yeah. If John experienced, but Dalian would have said that he's not really good at talking to people, and especially a stranger that don't know him.
Well, let's put the spotlight on Pascal, because he's got the the know-how, he's got the people power, and then if there's anything that you can kind of jump in to plug the gap, then maybe that would be good. Yeah.
Yep.
How do we approach this then, Pascal?
So Pascal has been put, in a even if the spell itself has worn off, which I'm not sure. I assume it's still going, right?
We'll call it. Well,
even if it has,
it's worn off. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it has worn off, Pascal's had a pretty good day. He was put into a good mood earlier, and he's still kind of riding that a little bit. He's ready to get back on the sea, so he's just going to approach confidently and directly.
Okay.
Towards the crew.
All right. Well, the crew are all, or the crew who are above deck, are all scattered sort of about the deck. Some at leisure, some preparing the rigging, loading or bringing boxes underneath into the hold. Some sort of having discussions, and they'll all notice generally as you come aboard because you're not crew members. So who's that guy? Why are they coming up on board? And you'll be greeted pretty immediately by Raoul, who introduces himself as the ship's quartermaster and very pointedly asks, who might you be?
Pascal is going to, upon hearing that this is the quartermaster, he's gonna kind of break into a bigger smile and say, "Perfect, just who I was looking for. We're looking to come on board this ship. I've got some skills myself that could be useful as a quartermaster."
Okay. So it has, it sounds a little bit like you're trying to take his job, which I assume is not how Pascal
Yeah,
sort of plays
he'd
it
put
off.
it a little bit. He'd put it a little bit better than I would.
Yeah, that's fair. But so the general tack is you're trying to, say you want to join the crew,
Yeah.
essentially.
Without the job stealing underline.
Yeah, okay. So, you'll have, probably a short discussion about, oh, okay, well, what do you do? What are your skills? Why are you looking to join? Does Pascal speak Spanish?
Does Pascal, other than the possible like sailor pigeon that had been picked up, probably not.
Okay.
But the Spanish
so you
were
have
one
sort
of
of
the
a
dominant naval forces, yeah. So
yeah, you have kind of like a mongrel conversation with like bits of Spanish and bits of other like bastardized languages like tossed in to try to make yourself clear. It's not exactly like a as a result of that, it's not like a meeting of the minds, like a fluent conversation the way it would be if Pascal were a Spanish speaker.
mm-hmm.
But you get across your meaning, and then Raoul asks, "Okay, and who are the rest of these?" Gesturing expansively at this slightly motley crew behind you. Are they also hungry mouths looking for someone to feed them? What gives?
And Pascal's just going to explain to Raoul, as we had defined earlier in the abstract plan.
Mhm.
He knows exactly what to say. I presume this had come up, like how we're gonna approach. And Pascal's just going to deliver it confidently.
Okay, so is this the point at which the P word is said, or are we waiting for a later point for that? The
You
P
mean like
word is
plan?
prior it.
Ah, yes. Pascal kind of ease into it, but he's not one to beat around the bushes.
Okay.
He's going to broach it directly.
Go ahead and give me a manipulate. Well, all right. You're broaching it directly. How are you trying to sway this person? Are you trying to sort of like what's the approach?
As a quartermaster as well, Pascal will probably be leaning on like the numbers side more so than the average crewmate would. But also it's a bit of like an emotional appeal as well in terms of like trying to build a strong sense for like this is what we should do, this is why we should do it. Here are the reasons, yeah, but this is why you should care about them.
Okay, cool. So give me a presence plus persuasion roll. +4 from the skill, or from the plan, but -4 from the ask, essentially.
Okay. This is I still have a very good roll here. I might spend willpower just because Pascal would be really hammering in these points.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Presence persuasion. Let me a little bit show. Is this how you roll it? You do.
So you.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
+4, -4.
And
Willpower.
this is an asset skill,
Yes.
which means that it's
There we go.
what is it? 9 again?
Yes. I
Okay, cool.
rolled it, and I've got an exceptional success.
Cool. So how do you want this exceptional success, or how do you want this to go down? In terms of, I'm imagining you having a very strong effect on Raoul, as sort of the outcome of sort of how effectively you've sort of bowled him over with, facts and logic. But how do you envision he comes out of it?
I envision that maybe, he already knew a lot of the like facts and figures about it, but this is maybe the first time he's really felt like roused to really like see, this sort of thing. Maybe, he's starting to envision how it would actually be to be a pirate from
Okay.
like a personal standpoint.
I like it. Go ahead and take a beat from imposing a condition on someone else. I imagine it like when he resolves the condition, you get a beat, but that's fiddly, so just take the beat now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So you have a convert. Raoul is so you talk to this man. He's pretty buttoned up. He's pretty humorless from just this short conversation you've had with him and sort of how immediately he approached you. But you start to get past sort of his professional shell, and you tap into sort of those dreams of grandeur and adventure that are still alive in the little boy inside of him. And you draw those out, and you've got a convert essentially. And from there, I'm gonna imagine that you start having quiet conversations outside of the hearing range of the captain, as Raoul takes you around and introduces you to people. You maybe have some quieter conversations and start to try to build support over the course of the early afternoon. Your captain Captain what did I name him? De la Vega probably takes note, but with the excuse that these are new crew member, lets you go about your way as he is dealing with sort of details of your passage for this trip they're planning. And eventually, over the course of the morning, Raoul helps you build sort of consensus among the crew. Some are enthusiastic about the prospect of becoming gentlemen of fortune, taking more money, getting a pay bump if they manage to, gain some spoils. And some of the members of the crew who aren't as enthusiastic about the prospect are taken aside. You're not sure what will happen or what Raoul intends for, these folks, but those who express some sort of reticence at the idea are sort of, nudged aside, maybe sent down to the hold for a chore. And now eventually a moment comes where, Kessin has noticed all of this, and there's a moment where sort of things get aligned, where you all are sort of near to, in speaking distance with the captain, while Kessin is also nearby, and Raoul has given you some pointers on how to make this pitch. How's it go?
I would introduce these fine enterprising gentlemen are the individuals I spoke about before. But I would probably have I'd have John be kind of take the lead on this, though, since it's his idea.
Okay, so you introduce them. These are the hands that I mentioned who had particular skills. Do you, sort of?
Mhm.
I imagine you probably elaborate on that point or
Oh,
their
yeah,
actual skills.
I introduced John as the carpenter with ambitions. Dalian is what describe Dalian as? The old man of Shavna earlier. Some of you may recognize him.
I'm a great cook.
It's a
And I
great cook.
know
He
I'm a
knows how to
great
use
cook
time.
no, he also knows
Mhm.
how to stop you from bleeding out if need be.
Okay.
Mm.
And
Use the surgeon.
you probably also
And Pascal is
you probably introduced the uh, short Dutchman, I assume.
Oh yes.
Anu,
Well,
yeah.
I don't really know the. I've met him, so yeah, I could introduce Anu as a someone who's also been wronged by the English.
Okay, so Captain Baltasar de la Vega is his whole name. Is happy to meet you. Welcome aboard. You'll get situated. We're actually setting sail soon. The plan is to carry this cargo of sugar up or along the trade winds through the rest of the Caribbean, then back to Spain.
Can I just clarify? Just out of character, is the captain isn't the owner of this ship, are they? This is a company ship, or
He is not. The owner lives in Madrid.
okay. So John is going to kind of press on that and seems like a fine ship you've got here. We are talented individuals. My mentor here. I think John would refer to Anu as his master, I guess, master and apprentice. Master shipwright here, and I obviously have skills as well in that arena. And as Kesson has explained, these are seasoned sailors that we have with us. Have you ever wanted to seize your own destiny? Are you really going to leave the Caribbean behind and head back to make money for some landlubber company man when we have opportunity here?
Okay. It's a convincing pitch. I will sort of. So you've got +4 from your equipment. You're about to sort of make the action that reaches the culmination of it. And so +4 from the plan. We'll say -2 from his resistance to it, which is lower than it otherwise would be. Because you're pushing some buttons very effectively for Captain de la Vega. So yeah, this will be a presence plus persuasion roll.
Okay, so could I use sympathetic as well if I took a condition?
Yeah, that gives you a bonus if you take a condition. Yes. The text is not in the merit, so.
Oh, sorry, I was going to add that. Yeah, it's for social maneuvering. It's like -2 doors, I think.
Okay. Yeah, sure. This is. I'm treating it as you forcing his doors, so we'll say that this is like a -1 condition, or minus. It'll be a -1 penalty, instead of a -2 then. So
Cool.
how do sympathetic? There we go. So what kind of condition are we leaning at?
Well, how
Leverage or
attractive is
swoon?
Captain?
Yeah, so which way are we leaning John going? Sort of, there's the aspect of John sort of giving a lot of himself in order to sort of make this sail. Or on the other hand, there's the aspect of John really dialing into sort of everything he can tell about Captain de la Vega, and in the process maybe becoming really enamored with the man that he sees.
I kind of like the latter.
Okay.
I like the latter in just kind of mooning over this guy, really in flattering him and talking him up as seizing his own destiny and things. I think John is sort of building this picture in his own head of, oh wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'll take swooning.
Okay, you are swooned over Captain de la Vega. Cool.
And I'm gonna spend a willpower point as well.
You have so little. Only 7 points left.
I'm getting knackered today, guys.
If I haven't spent all by my end of the session.
Oh, so close to exceptional. But yeah, so you make your pitch, you make your arguments, you paint the picture of what the future could be, and at the end of it, what did I put for character notes in here for this man? Baltasar de la Vega. For character traits, I gave him flamboyant, impulsive, and overly curious. So he probably almost
perfect.
immediately, he's got wild eyes, and he reaches out, clasps you by the forearm, and claps you on the back, and shouts to the crew that today the La Rosa grasps her destiny in Spanish. If anyone among you understands it, it's quite accented and bombastic, so it may sound probably confused to those with only glancing Spanish proficiency. But you get the vibe, because it's met with, cheers of enthusiasm from the crew members who are still on board. The ones who are less enthusiastic are below board, and I think De La Vega sort of is surprised and taken aback by sort of the enthusiasm, because it's so unanimous, because you've already called the field. And so that sort of, is a feedback mechanism that gets him more excited, and then, people on the other ships are looking at the commotion, learning what the hell is going on over there. Did they break open the rum, or anyway? So you guys have pretty free reign to say how the rest of this outfitting goes, briefly. But the one detail that I do need you to tell me is how you handle the dissidents.
With a head.
I'm gonna say straight up that I think if we're looking to kind of have people on board, even the people who are up for it, I think we've got to give people a choice, and a fair shake here. We've kind of made our case, and we've swayed important people, but I think if there are people who don't want to become pirates, then we're not going to shaft them. Let them go and don't leave them stranded. I think, but
Okay.
give them the fair choice kind of thing.
Meanwhile, there's some. So meanwhile, there's some sea. So there's some sea of scryers going what the hell are they doing down there? They're making a pirate.
So I will say that as I, since I told you earlier that there was no surgeon on board and no carpenter, I don't think that there are any other sort of super important key roles with a capitalized name that Raoul would counsel you to keep against their will, as medical professionals sailing the Caribbean as passengers became acquainted with during the Age of Sail. Sometimes, if their ship were taken and it were known that they were, a trained doctor, they might find themselves joining the lifestyle of a gentleman of fortune against their will, because of how in demand their skills were. There's no one of that sort who is presently on the ship who it would behoove the crew to keep against their will, and so the deckhand, I'm gonna say there's probably 8 sort of crewmen who vote against joining this new lifestyle, and so they are left ashore. Maybe with a little bit of money to buy their passage elsewhere, maybe with a little bit of food or coin or what have you, but they are left behind.
With a fair shake of that, yeah.
Yeah.
Not completely left in the drink, but okay, you don't want to come along, that's fine. We're not going to take you anywhere, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually how Kesson winded up here, in fact, because sailing masters as well. It's a specialized skill set. When you find someone like that, you keep them.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, how are we on time? Okay, we got 50 minutes left, plenty of time. Okay, so the the crew is enthused, converted. De La Vega is excited, and is trying to figure out what to do with all of this sugar that they have now, because if they're going rogue, then it may be difficult to sell it, unless they go to waters that are slightly more, or ports that are slightly more amenable to breaking the navigation acts. For those who are unfamiliar, essentially a law implemented by the English that English, or that only English ships can trade in English ports, etc., etc. It's all very complicated, not super interesting, but the upshot is that it means that it will be difficult to get rid of, or rather to sell merchandise in a manner that's on the up and up, if they are deviating from their plans to return from Europe.
Dalian is. Does the captain voices this concern out loud?
Yeah, sure.
So Dalian's gonna just, scuttle next to him and say,
So sorry, what is Dalian concerned about?
Dalian is scuttling next to Captain, trying to get his attention, and he's just clearing his throat, and when he sees it doesn't work, in Spanish
yeah,
he's gonna say...
De La Vega is probably talking really loudly, and probably really likes the sound of his own voice, so it takes a little bit for him to notice that Dalian is there, despite Dalian's stature, and but eventually, he's taken aback slightly to see you, in his shadow after your quote-unquote scuttling, and asks, yes?
If you're looking to sell sugar, my people would be happy to take it off your hands and maybe give you something worthwhile in return.
Your people, and he looks you up and down. Does Dalian speak Spanish?
Yes, he's talking in Spanish right now.
Okay, so you're having a conversation, which is good. And he looks you up and down. You obviously look different from the rest of the folks around here. And who would those be?
I'm a maroon.
And the escaped slave folk have got some sterling laying around in their camps.
No, but we have herbal medicine, advice, other things like that. Look, I mean, you're obviously not going to sell it to anyone at a sort of value if you're going pirates, and you can't just leave it laying around in the boat, so might as well get something out of it.
So, something, or out of character now, so something that was established earlier was when I was talking with Shism about the crew, is that this is a former privateer crew that was active during the war, so they're not necessarily a merchant crew, and I mean that to imply that they might have a little more knowledge of the less up and up aspects of trade in the Caribbean than your standard merchant mariner. De La Vega tells you that I think we can find someone to fence these, essentially. He probably says that straight up. We can find someone to fence these if we are, in fact, leaving from the law. But these maroons who are willing to trade with pirates, where are they?
It's an isle not too far from here, and he points in the direction.
Okay. And do they, have things other than herbs and weeds and teas to trade?
I don't know, do they?
Two things. I asked earlier how long Dalian had been away from home. Only a week, which means what I'm about to say would not be news to Dalian. Dalian would know about the most recent developments on his home island, which I'm going to call Saint Hilary.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, Dalian is not acquainted with it by name. However, in the past month, there have been English settlers, colonialists, who have landed on the island. Early attempts to fight them off and force them to abandon the island were unsuccessful due to their greater numbers, and they have set up a beachhead on half of this relatively small island and anoint or bless. What's the word I'm looking for? Christened it Saint. Saint Hilary. And over the course of their month being on the island, have come into numerous conflicts with the locals. This is relatively recent enough that St. Hilary wouldn't be on any charts or maps. No one would know that, this island exists under this name, even if they know of the existence of the island, because as far as they were aware, it was desert up until a month ago. But yeah, you would know the direction to the island. You would know that these colonialists are calling it St. Hilary.
Yeah, but do I know like if the community has anything to trade with?
So for the Maroon communities, they're very much self-sufficient and subsistence communities, except for the largest and most well-equipped of them on the bigger islands like Jamaica. For your people group, I don't know what group name to use to refer to them, but for your village, I suppose, especially with the English landing on the island, it's hard to just get enough to survive on at this point. In terms of, material goods, in terms of, rope or silver or supplies. But your people, or rather your mentor at least, Samara has knowledge of a more esoteric lot. Do you try to sort of lean into that aspect of,
Yeah, he's gonna say, well,
witchcraft?
Like it's dangerous at sea, and sometimes to cast off bad luck, storms, and disease, you need a little bit of spiritual assistance.
You mean Obia? And he sort of makes a sign against evil, and is flushed and stuttering.
Yeah. Well. Plus, if you want to go full pirate, there's a nice little English settlement that's not protected and that no one know of. That would, not implying anything, but
that does catch his attention. Obviously this is a Spanish privateer, or this is out of character. Out of character, Dalian would know enough of the world to know that there's still bad blood between the English and the Spanish. The war is only recently ended, so the chance or the prospect of preying on an English settlement is appealing to Senor de la Vega. He tells you he'll think about it. After all, we do need to chart a course to somewhere now that we've made our grand declaration. And he wanders off at this point.
I couldn't have made a roll to try to begin to influence him for maybe.
So out of character, this isn't sort of a. Out of character, it's not going to take long to convince him. I'm just saying that he's got stuff to do, so he's going.
That's fair. Yeah. Daniel looks pleased with himself. Go back to going to the quartermaster.
Okay. Anything in particular you're looking to do?
Yes.
With Raoul?
He's gonna ask. Do you have a doctor?
He looks up from the chart that he's looking over and says, "No, we lost our doctor in the Barbados. We haven't had a surgeon on board in quite some while. What do you know one?
So-
Do you have some training at this?" He says he looks you up and down and looks skeptical.
Yeah, bits. I had to learn to survive I know how to survive on the island, and you can do that without hurting yourself badly sometimes. I'm not doctor or surgeon, but I can fill in if you have nobody else.
Well,
Is there
Yeah,
any
so-
of your people that would be able to help us in that regard?
Yeah. Don't know if I would want to come though.
Well, maybe some sugar could buy their way.
You think sugar can buy community? And Daniel looks at you and
okay.
very
Let's sweeten the deal.
Tish. Okay. So Raoul's response to this is, well, I'm glad that you are skilled in dealing with injuries, but his main concern is until you prove that you're a trained doctor, you're not going to get the 1.5 share that a doctor is usually entitled to under a freeman's.
I don't care. I don't care about the share. I'm just telling you if you.
He
there's
is,
no
however.
Yeah, but Daniel just
I
plain
get it.
saying that I don't care about money. I'm just saying like if you need, I can help.
Right.
The kids
Okay, cool.
go grumpy laugh, but caring about
So,
the share. Ridiculous.
Dalian, I imagine, is continuing to go around and try to convince people that the next spot to sail to is to St. Hilary for whatever reason, either by deception or by persuasion or what have you. And it's not long before you get the captain or you get De La Vega to agree that they'll plot their course nearby. It's on the way, at least, heading west along the trade winds, so it's not like they're going out of their way.
And like once the captain agree, he's gonna look quite pleased with himself, and he's gonna happily ship away his statue as he must have finished by now. And he's gonna look at his artifacts, as it's called, and then it hits him that he used this disguise since he got here, and that's how he showed himself to the crew. And if he's to interact with the community and the crew at the same time, he's gonna have a problem.
Oh dear.
A big problem.
Witchcraft.
Yeah.
Um.
And he's
Okay.
gonna look quite panicked, visibly.
Okay. So I'm imagining the plan is to set sail in the morning. That hasn't changed from when the plan was still to go back to Europe. But now the plan is to look for some likely marks heading along from the east or along the easterly trade winds. Is there a point during the day while still on the ship that the company of you four managed to get together in private to chat, or
Yes.
do you just?
Yes, though
Yeah.
Pascal might be preparing a working as well.
Okay.
Dalian is, after his mini freak out, Dalian is going to gather the other three and ask him to come talk to him in private.
Okay.
Uh,
Where do
how about-
you go to try to have a bit of time in private?
Well, I imagine that with like 8 crew having been left behind, there's probably some space in the hold or wherever they stay.
The kitchen.
Oh,
Like the kitchen has to be,
okay.
Mhm.
Just close the doors.
Okay.
And maybe we could set the scene like Pascal is kind of starting to prepare his working, and we're kind of hanging around. I don't know.
Okay.
Pascal would definitely pause if Dalian seemed to be like worried noticeably.
He is.
I will say actually that there is no cook. The cook didn't want to become a pirate. He went ashore.
Then Dalian's.
So you have the kitchen
sorry.
to yourselves.
Yeah, and Dalian would have said he's willing to take the cook place, and he could cook a mean shot.
Right? Yeah.
And he's gonna look. So he's gonna go to the kitchen and close the door, make sure it's closed, and whisper to her. So I may have a problem, but I didn't think through.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, what's the problem?
Does it have to do with the plan?
No. And he's gonna slowly take off his collar, his pendants, and he's gonna drop the spell, Many Faces. And
Oh.
you can clearly see, as he reverts back to his age, it's down, but maybe for 20, 30 years younger, barely a man, just young adult at this point.
Your command of time is incredible.
It's not.
This-
It's
Oh, that's what the fuck was in that suit?
nothing. It's a pendant.
Oh, I see. So you've been pretending to be an older gentleman?
Look, this was my first time out, and I thought people would take me more seriously if I just,
John isn't going to kind of immediately confess to also pretending to be a man, but is kind of gonna understands completely and is quite sympathetic.
Dalian is still physically male. It's just like very like.
Yeah. But
Okay,
just
yeah.
in terms of like, I want people to take me seriously, so.
Oh
I
yeah,
pretend
okay, yeah.
to-
So
it's not the same thing, of course, but it's
But
John kind of understands that. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
and is quite sympathetic. Like, oh, okay, yeah,
I
yeah, fair enough.
just didn't think it through.
So this is probably going to be a problem with your village. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, if we, I mean, because the captain didn't seem to be wild about your people. Maybe if you are the go-between, and we keep the crew back on the ship, we can be the kind of emissaries to your people.
Yeah, I guess that could work.
That way, you take off the pendant, you hop over there. We
Oh,
go
I
into the
don't need to
mental.
take it off. It's just.
I would love to actually, pick your
But-
brains about what it does as well.
Let the crew see what the crew needs to see. Let your people see what they need to see.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Two sides.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, both are you.
Yeah, just me, but older.
with
That's
more
it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pascal will kind of, shoot, I guess, Kessin like give a little bit of a stink eye and say like, no age comments, But me on
Me?
found he's the
Never.
oldest now.
Yeah. I didn't realize you were all so young. I guess, putting me on the spot now.
I mean, sorry.
Fine.
I mean, I can let you. Probably not best.
You
use
pretend to be.
I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to let you guys use it if you want. But,
I could probably iron out those wrinkles on Pascal. Let me touch your face. Like,
yeah, you probably could. It's not hard to use.
Yeah, like
It's very powerful.
it's just
between
like eating
this and
soup.
Pascal's. Like John is very much interested in these, shards of supernal here. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
there's clearly something going on with like it looks like a jade pendant, and it's like it's carved resembles something. But every time you look, you can't quite focus on it. Like the angle seems to shift. But like,
Gesturing towards the pendant, Pascal's actually gonna ask, How did you acquire this? Did you also bring
It's
it with you?
no, it's my mother's.
It's your mother's. Was it always so, swirly?
Uh, I think so. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, she didn't. I don't know.
Something to look into then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come from an auspicious lineage then.
I mean, I'm not really. My mother wasn't really local, and I mean, my father is more like my adoptive father, to be honest. It's still my father, but I don't know where she come from. I don't know what she did.
Something
Uh,
to ask about then when we make landfall.
well, my father never answered or knew, and she left a couple months ago.
So this mentor, I don't know
Yeah.
actually out of character if you refer to that as a mentor, to refer to them as a mentor. But
Yeah.
this person that you've told us about in your
Oh,
village,
Samara.
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's Indian.
What is their relation to you?
I came to her when I had my revelation, I guess, and she took me under her wing. I mean, I know her since I was little. Everyone knows her. She's already a woman.
Maybe she knows about
I don't
something,
know.
or can point us in the right direction. Maybe.
Maybe she will probably know things about your mirror. She's very smart. And
Oh
she
yeah,
has.
let's do that.
Mm.
But
Especially if this pendant came. Maybe my mirror has a sort of connection as well.
maybe. I don't know.
John is very excited about meeting a more experienced wizardly person, magical person. However, John is thinking about
And
it.
you see Dalian looking around for a sharp object, pricking his finger, letting a drop of blood fall on the pendant, and whispering something to it really, really quietly. And then you sense the magic happening, and probably a swirl of mists goes around him, and he's go back to the Dalian you met him as, to his old person.
Wow, you have to do that every time.
Yeah, I have.
Interesting.
That means a price.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I mean, never.
So
Oh, sorry.
we got time left, but I do want to sort of let everyone. Or so this is probably the first time that you guys have seen this artifact in action. Dalian has been keeping it secret, doing it in the morning, and you've only just learned sort of
Mhm.
his changed appearance. So all the rest of you can take an arcane beat for witnessing a new artifact in action.
My
Oh.
treats. My treat, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for the tie.
They can have a little divine insight as a treat. Anyway, so you can
Pascal, you
continue
had
your
a word?
conversation if there's
Yeah.
anything else that you
So,
wanted to hit.
Dalian said, yeah, it never. I mean, it never did anything terrible. Like, I don't think it's cursed or anything. It just does that.
Pascal's gonna just probably give some more like words of encouragement, since Dalian did seem to be pretty upset about the predicament. So he's gonna be focusing on like trying to be like a reassuring friend in this instance.
You are now officially been upgraded to Team Dad.
Yes.
Okay.
He's gonna
So
just. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought from the silence that
you?
you were done.
No, he's gonna put the pennant out and say, I mean, if you want to try it out, you can. going to let you do it.
It's
Um,
free.
I like.
I will note that all your peripheral mage sight goes off when the pendant is activated with the droplet of blood. John, with his keen periphery, would feel that this is a time and a life effect.
I like to imagine that that Pascal's actually this whole time had his hands full a little bit, like just rearranging stuff to try to get in the right like spell casting mood. So he's just gonna like shrug with his hands full and kind of go like maybe some other time. A bit caught up right now.
I'm not holding all these scissors.
And juggling with those chainsaws. So yeah, that just it doesn't hurt at all.
I guess Pascal would probably also ask if you like feel older. Does it actually make your
Yeah,
like your
I-
joints worse and all that?
yeah, a bit. I feel it in my bones, but not too terribly. I guess I age gracefully. But yeah, it can make you older, younger, man, woman, anyone really.
I intend to age like a fine wine, darling.
I think John would want to try it himself, but maybe not right now. But like, since Darlene seems pretty like fine with sort of sharing it and showing it off. Like, yeah, when there's like a another private moment when Darlene isn't using it. Yeah, John would like to try
Dan
that
just
out.
say,
Yeah.
Dan just say, it's you can, even if I'm using, you can also use it at the same time. I think. And actually, I never. And he's look at the pen and say, "Huh, I don't know if it only works on one person at a time."
Time to experiment.
Sure. Okay. I mean, he looks at the door and makes sure it's closed one again, and just creaks it open to see if there's nobody listening behind it, and close it up again. You say, okay, super simple. You just have to drop of blood on it and just tell it a secret.
And also spend
Okay.
mana. Remember to be spending mana every day that you're
I
activating
mean,
this.
it's I think the item is full, so but yeah, Dalian is probably spending his own just in case. Yeah. No, I was at 7. What happened? Oh, that's my no, that's my mana. Huh.
I dropped it down for you. Your mana.
But I was at 8 before. I should be at 7 right now.
You were 8 at the beginning of the day, but you've used your artifact twice.
That's right. Thank you.
I didn't think that artifacts necessarily used mana. I know imbued items do.
It's not one of my rule in Arcana, so I have to.
Right, but it's the artifact casting the spell.
No, the artifact allows me to cast a spell.
We'll take a look at the mechanics later, but in any case, so you guys continue to sort of play around with it. Do you try to use it now, John?
Yeah, I think now that there's an interesting question, sure. John is going to try and change his features more dramatically as well. Into looking like a different person, not just the same person at a different age, and see kind of how far he can push that.
Okay. Go ahead and, well, it would be the artifact casting the spell. What secret do you whisper to it?
Oh, John is going to whisper very quietly his real name, as in like his synthetic name, which I think
haven't you guys been, or is it not John then? Oh yes, that's right, because
no, John, that was not the name.
You're living under a different identity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Joan something. I can't actually remember off the top of my head. Sorry, Janet Wharton. But she's gonna. He's going to just whisper that name.
So the jade coils a little more vigorously than it had before. You sort of feed it your secret. You feed it your intention of what you want to look like. Sort of a different person. Any particular features that you're going for, or just some generic, wholly different person?
Like quite a different person, like bald and kind of, with like dramatically different features. Like a really big forehead or something. Just John's idea of kind of quite extreme features. So almost like ogreish.
And so the magic goes off. You feel your body changing, flesh crawling, stretching, moving, bones bending. It's not entirely pleasant feeling, and those around you sort of watch as John's forehead becomes much wider than it was before, even beyond what John had sort of envisioned. Sort of teeth sticking out, lips not long enough to cover them, and jaw in a sort of strange angle. You certainly look dramatically different, but it doesn't feel or look particularly pleasant.
Yeah, Dalian looks horrified and say, "Oh no, what have I done?"
John kind of breaks into a big smile. And it's just like, this is horrible.
I'm sure we can fix it.
It's amazing.
There's probably a reflective surface
John have
around
some
where
fun.
John
Yeah.
can be seeing himself. Yeah, you're right. But you are able to sort of remove the effect after some amount of time, and I imagine sort of casting more, life magic to try to pick it apart. Or actually,
Suddenly it's a
So-
Promethean game.
so I actually know. This is probably a good time to look at one of the widgets that mages have, which sort of John is John's able to look at himself with his wizard eyes, look at his features in the mirror, look at his distended arms and strangely bony fingers, and see how his pattern's been changed by this active effect emanating from this whatever. John doesn't have Prime, so he doesn't have sort of that supernal understanding of how to sort of tear apart or sort of pick at an already existing, effect in and of itself. He understands how he could cast another spell sort of on top of it to fight against the effects of the spell, and maybe sort of undo the changes that way in the manner of sort of trying to bend back a sort of bent piece of metal which is being pulled out of shape, but that would only last as long as the countervailing pressure would. But in the course of this, John also sees sort of his pattern, the pattern of his body as what is being changed by the magic, and he thinks that looking at himself, he could probably, just with the mana, flowing through him, try to rip it out of his pattern. If he applied enough brute force.
Oh hell yes, yeah. Yeah. So John is kind of envisaging this, like it's not so much visual as it is like kind of tactile. Like John can feel the spell on him, like a whole kind of sheet of barnacles and seaweed on a hull, and John can kind of feel that, and it's kind of chucked on there, and it's got this horrible texture, and John kind of envisages this. Kind of his will kind of tearing at it, scouring it off like like a storm, like a like an intense kind of wave just lashing the hull that is his pattern, and tearing away at all the kind of bits and all the rough texture, and leaving the sturdy, maybe a little bit scarred hull still intact.
Okay. I will also say a slight retcon. It's pattern restoration that I'm thinking of, which removes conditions and tilts. But I think that given that this is a little bit more than a physical tilt, scouring is kind of appropriate.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
does that mean that we can end spell on us by scarring ourselves?
It does mean that John can spend 3 points of mana to restore himself to what he looked like before. You're not sort of dispelling it, but sort of, the lingering after effects or the lingering effects of this are able to be undone with enough mana.
So it's more an effect of the artifact and how that interacts with things. Yeah, that makes sense. John is definitely going to do that because I spent all the time describing it, so fuck it.
Right.
So I'm going to spend all of my 3 mana on that.
Oh, now we get to figure out how you get more of it. Okay, cool.
Like
we
piracy,
will-
of course.
Yeah. We will wrap up that there. Pascal, you had a spell you wanted to cast.
Yes. Creative thaumaturgy, even. Ooh, exciting.
Practices.
Swell. I was reading about sympathy, and how sympathy is based on, emotional, physical, and sort of mystical similarities. So, I'm thinking that I was gonna try to maybe grease the wheels by making it easier for our group to kind of integrate with this crew, since we're kind of taking on the same sort of role in this instance. Like, we're like as the rest of the crew now that we're like pirates accounting to sea. And so I was going to cast like a space compelling to not necessarily create sympathy, but allow sympathy to be created easier.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Sort of nudging sort of the invisible sort of So, if I recall correctly, Pascal envisions sort of sympathy as mirrors that are more
Yeah,
or less muddy or
the way
clear.
Pascal would in character envision this is probably thinking about how, sailors, pirates, we're already, we're very similar. We have a lot of we are reflections of each other. So this sort of distinction between like, oh, we have our group and we have this crew. Well, now we're just one crew. We're conforming to the shape, like how water would fill up a glass or a jug.
Mm-hmm.
He's
And
just
maybe
kind of
polishing the mirrors so that they'll shine a little brighter. I like it.
Mhm.
Cool.
And I'm thinking I might even try to make this a praxis afterwards.
Okay. So you're trying to cast this as a spell for the interior of the ship, or?
I wanted to ask about that. I was messing around with the scale and such. I could get it to how large is the crew of a ship in general?
Um,
20.
there's at least that many. And in terms of sort of size of the ship, it's probably a small warehouse-sized ship. It's not a frigate. It's more of a sloop.
We could cast it on the ship itself to kind of make it easier. I could try to cast it on just like our group in general, and then have the imago sort of be like, as long as we're fulfilling the role of being a sailor, we find it easier to form sympathetic connections with other sailors. Do you think that would work?
Yeah,
Like, as long as we're kind
sure.
of so it's the potency part becomes less about how many people you're affecting. They get broad ability to make sympathy, but more just like as long as you
Yeah.
have something to be sympathetic with, it builds faster.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
So I'll do a let's see. I want this to last a while, like at least a day, couple days, week, until we're kind of integrated into the crew.
So is Pascal going to cast this as a ritual?
Probably not actually. Probably going to spend maybe like a half hour or 20 minutes getting everything ready, kind of, getting ready to bring up the will, but the actual casting itself will be very quick. I wanted to ask if I could maybe use a situation yantra for this in regards to actually accounting to the sea, but we're not going to do that till the morning. Oh, or becoming a part of the same crew. Those mean that as long as the spell lasts, as long as the situation is ongoing, like sort of like we have that camaraderie or sense of community from doing the same task. And that
Yeah,
allows us
I'll
to...
say that if you wanted to use that as a yantra, I think that what would be most sort of semiotically potent for Pascal would be, the weighing of anchor and the setting of sails. When you're all really together on this ship, you've left the land. Your last, the gangway has been pulled up. You are one ship now. There's no going back.
I'll be willing to wait for them to actually cast the spell if you don't want to just like cut past that part.
Yeah, I mean you could also just use other yantras, but
I think that's like that's definitely the sort of yantra that Pascal would use.
Right. Okay, sounds good. If no one has anything else that they want to do this evening, we can fast forward to dawn the next morning. Any objections from anyone?
No, I'm good with that. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, Daniel just gonna think the experiment was a failure unless unless
Pascal's gonna decline after seeing
yeah
that.
unless
Maybe some
Daniel
other
just
time.
apologize. I'm sorry, I didn't know you would do that. And just
like John is definitely gonna like share what happened and explain to the rest of them. Like John is not being kind of
okay,
private.
yeah. So Daniel is gonna look like much more reassured than okay.
I guess if we're actually accounting to sail, then Pascal will make this like a ritual.
okay, sounds good.
As I set this up.
The final day. It's a it's a red dawn. The the skies are clear, the wind is brisk. Couldn't ask for a better day. Everyone is on board. Accounts have been settled ashore. Things have been brought aboard. The crew. I don't know if there was a crate for Pascal's mirror, but the crew is sort of looking at it askance as they carry it up the gangway. But all your things are on board. Anchors are drawn, sails are pulled. Captain Balthazar de la Vega, makes the call to set sail in a westerly direction, and you're off at sea. And this probably sort of culminates the 3 hours that Pascal has been aboard, preparing for this spell.
Just kind of, Pascal would probably, be helping bring things aboard as well, and kind of using that as the ritual. That's like the yantra is sort of like preparing to ship off, becoming one cohesive unit.
Okay, I'm into it. This will be a +1 yantra, and remember you can use a separate at Gnosis 1 you can use up to 2 yantras. You're not limited to 1.
I don't know if I particularly have many others. I guess Pascal could call, if we brought the mirror up, Pascal could call his fellow seers all together in front of the mirror and use that.
Okay,
like,
I'm
look,
into
we're
it.
we're reflected in it. So it is a little bit of a fun house. That would be another +1.
Yeah, it'll be a path yantra.
All right. And then standing in front of the mirror, he will reach out and cast the spell.
Nice. All right, go ahead and add that to your active spells and rename it and give it a description for
Pascal
what you
will
want to
be
do.
spending a willpower to make this his praxis, as he sort of shifts the reflection and the way that we interact with the world.
Okay. So all right, so now that we're making it a praxis, this is has to be a little more concrete. But the general effect is that making sympathetic
Links
bonds to
easier
and
to
from
form.
the subject
Well,
develop more
it's
quickly.
not fully, yeah, it's not making any bonds, but it's compelling the ability to form sympathetic bonds. I think of it almost
Okay.
as like a building rapport sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
first impressions might be a little bit better. People more similar might have
Yeah.
a better
Okay.
like initial impression, that sort of thing.
But the thing that it's compelling is the capacity to make connections and have connections made towards one. You could maybe even do it in the reverse and compel them to develop less easily or less quickly.
Though it is probably limited on like not just like all forms of bonds, but it's like in a specific context.
Sure. Just make sure that that sort of gist is in the subject or in the description when you
I'll
add it
probably
to your
write it up
encounters.
later, yeah.
Yeah. There's a praxis tag that you can add to your spells in your magic tab. Okay, and with that, we will call the session. As the spell goes off, you all sort of
Yay!
die. Yeah, you all sort of become more sort of open to and taking from those around you within the context of the ship, and the sails flutter as they set off towards the west.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. That was Horizon Marmoris
Bye.
Session 4. See you in 2 weeks.